Good afternoon, MPH community. It's Friday afternoon after a really interesting and diverse week, similar to the weather. I never thought we were going to have a snow day on Monday, and we had some cold weather. Thursday was close to 70 degrees, and now we've got a little rain and just a few snow flurries. So interesting times in the early spring here. I'm looking at a preview of Snapshot, and this represents a very similar kind of diverse array of really great things happening at the school, with scientists doing really well at local competitions, our Model UN going down to New York City and having a great experience and faring well, individual musicians doing well in competitions. Our athletic teams are going to be up and running and having games and contests next week. So just really proud of this community on balance. It's been a good year and a good week, and it's hard to believe that we're within 2 months now of the end of the year, and that after next week we've got a 1-week vacation coming up. So anyway, a lot to look forward to. I do want to mention a couple things. First of all, a big thank you to the Parents Association for providing all of us with a delicious lunch. It was their appreciation lunch, and I can tell you this, and we'll express our appreciation in a creative way next week as well, but it meant a lot to all of us that the Parents Association is so supportive that way. So thank you to all of you who did that. I had a chance to see, I guess what would be a final dress rehearsal for the upper school play Spring Awakening, and it was amazing, just simply amazing. As you may have already learned, but you'll learn here as well, we're going to need to push back the performances to at least next week, and this has to do with our health protocols and just really doing everything we can to keep the community safe and healthy. I know this was a real disappointment to a lot of folks, and certainly the cast and crew of Spring Awakening. And they're going to take extra steps. We're going to take extra steps to see if we can really, as well as we can, ensure that the show will go on next week. And if you watch the good work that Maya Dwyer did with her crew last spring, making all kinds of changes, while I'm sure it's not the most enjoyable part of what they do, if anyone can do this, Maya can do it, and our current cast and crew of Spring Awakening can do it. This brings me to my other message, which is that the reason for the need to push the start back a little bit is we're seeing a higher rate of COVID positive cases in Onondaga County. We follow as a school the CDC recommendations, and their assessment is that we're now in a different status, the higher status than we were previously. The recommendation from the CDC is that we consider wearing face coverings while we're inside, and we went to a flexible face covering policy a couple weeks ago, and I thought we did so with good success, and it's amazing to see our students, my colleagues, many if not most, were continuing to keep their face coverings on during the school day. There's a lot of strength that we've built in terms of trust in this community, and again, it's great to be part of a school where so many individuals really take to heart their own responsibility as it relates to the larger school responsibility. So with a lot of conversation with several of my colleagues, our health and safety team, picking up information from a lot of trusted sources, we're going to continue with our flexible face covering policy for next week. We're going to say we strongly encourage face coverings. We're certainly with heightened attention in more public spaces, the hallways, the dining area, etc. When we're outdoors, we're going to be much more comfortable taking them off. But because we're in a community where, if you look back over 2 years, where nothing was required in terms of testing or vaccinations or all the rest, we encourage these things. we had a very high rate of participation across the board. I mean, 95% in a lot of these areas. And so with that in mind, I suspect that we're going to see a good response when we get back on Monday. I anticipate that will be the case. And I would say that everyone should have their face covering with them at all times, so that when we're in a situation where it's being requested, again, I assume people will rise to the occasion and support classmates and the larger school community. And we still want to give people the discretion as they see fit, whether or not to wear them at all times or not. So let's see. I'm very encouraged. I'm confident that the response will be typical of MPH, which is we're gonna flex in this case and really take the steps we need to take to ensure that the community stays good and healthy. So again, grateful for a lot of good work and support from our students, my colleagues, and appreciate the partnership with all of our families as well. All right, have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll see you on Monday.